This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Diagnosing the Aftermarket. I'm Matt Fonslow, and I am really, really pleased to be able to have one of my very best friends, at least in the state of South Carolina. No, I'm kidding. He's really one of my very best friends on the podcast. He's not only a tech support provider, but also a trainer for LMV Bavarian. And he'll try to tell you maybe he's a BMW extraordinaire. And I doubt he'll use the word extraordinaire to describe himself. But the guy is just crazy smart on just about everything. So without further ado,
man,
Justin Morgan.
Definitely going to have to send you a royalty check on that one, Matt. Extraordinaire.
I got to make my money back from the last one. I paid a friend off to speak highly of me, and he did. Then he wants bonus money. It's like,
yeah,
it's expensive.
That's over the top, man. I think that might be a little bit, but I'm glad we finally got to do this, man. I know I kind of stood you up yesterday, but I think
people of your stature can.
If by stature you mean people that run around like they have lost their mind, yes, sure. Yeah. Yesterday, me, chicken head cut off, it was chaos.
So yeah, Justin, it's no secret we are facing a technician shortage. Did you know Napa Auto Care is addressing that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, they have a free 2-year apprentice program that offers a variety of training to produce a technician with 3 ASE certifications. You can learn more. Yeah, you can learn more by visiting member.napaautocare.com.
Hold on, can we change the podcast to talk about that? Because where was that when I was starting?
Dude, you ain't kidding, right?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. So real quick sidebar. North Carolina, which is the state, north of me.
North Carolina's north of South Carolina?
Yeah, I know, right? It's for some reason people think
I got to get a globe. Just
hold on, stand by. Yeah, people think I live in North Carolina for some reason. A lot of people think I live in Minnesota.
Because I keep telling everybody you live in North Carolina.
Yeah, probably. Can't fix BMWs, can't pick out states on a map.
He's a Tar Heel.
Oh, no. But North Carolina has an apprenticeship program, so quick shout out to Lucas and that team that deals with that. Tanner's involved with it too, I think. But that's pretty cool. So Napa's going to do an apprenticeship program. That's hats off to Napa. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we just need some structure. I think there's a lot of shops out there that they want to grow their own, or they want to bring in somebody with a diploma or a degree from a 2-year, but then put them on a good path to becoming a, whatever terms we want to use, master tech, journeyman tech, line tech, just a productive tech who not only produces for the shop, but also can make a good living for themselves. I think we're all really interested in that. And a lot of times you just don't know how to do it. And a program like this can get you on the path, or I guess maybe quite literally provides the path for you.
That's good. And with Napa being behind it, it's likely going to be a nationalized, standardized program, which could be amazing. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but just that's almost mind blowing to me. That's awesome. It's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. Something Justin and I were talking about a while ago is we're both kind of, I guess, would you say movie buffs? We watch a lot of movies.
I would say movie buffs.
Yeah, we've had a few conversations that pretty much were only done in
there was
movie
an
quotes.
Entire dinner one night at Vision that was nothing but movie references back and forth between you and I and 14 other people at the table going, what are they talking about?
What movie is that from?
Michael Dudikoff? Who the hell is that?
It's a hero. He should have been the next freaking Jean-Claude Van Damme. Better.
Totally
way better.
Way better.
Certainly better than Steven Seagal.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
Reaching for the stars.
Man, everybody's giving Steven crap lately. You put on 60 pounds and everybody loses respect for you. God.
I don't know if it was the weight that did it.
Wow. I'm going to blame it on that.
I think when they determined he was a I think he's a living god.
Ooh.
Yeah, Tibet. I think the Dalai Lama deemed that he is a living embodiment. Pretty sure.
So much crazy there.
Yeah. There's a story about him. We're not going to go on a big Steven Seagal riff here, but there's a story that Rob Schneider tells when they were filming. Boy, I think it was Rob Schneider and Steven Seagal. I'm going to go on a limb here. I think it was Glimmer Man, and Rob is invited to Steven's trailer, and Steven, was must be in the back somewhere, the trailer, a huge trailer. And Rob gets in there and sits down, waits, and then Steven walks out, many minutes later, maybe a half an hour later. And he's like, I just read the most amazing script I've ever read in my life. And Rob's like, really? It, perks up like genuine interest. Like, really? Who wrote it? And Steven responds, I did.
I think I remember this from when Snyder was on Howard Stern one time. He was telling all these stories. Yeah, I think I remember that.
That's awesome. It got us to thinking or talking about the way technicians / mechanics are portrayed in media, be it movies, television, and then of course news magazines or the news stings. But especially movies, like I really struggle to find any examples of techs or mechanics that are depicted that are very bright or have their stuff together, aren't former hitmen. Or not criminals.
Yeah.
I think I came up with 2.
Oh, wow. You did better than I did.
Maybe 3. The third one's pretty weak. The one of them has a huge caveat in it. So the number one, the first one that comes to mind as a mechanic or somebody of great mechanical aptitude that works on fixing things, automobiles. I think they had in the scene a motorcycle that he had some intelligence was Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List.
Okay,
but yes. I think he must have worked for a municipality or something like that. I don't think it was an auto shop. The other one is Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds, where he's a crane operator, but he must have used to been a mechanic, so he couldn't make enough money being a mechanic, so he runs a crane, which I think those guys that unload the big cargo ships, I think they do a little pretty well for themselves.
I think they do pretty well.
Probably can't blame them. But he, after the invasion, he fixes the van with a starter solenoid. No mechanic could have possibly figured that out. Yeah. So anyways, nobody else can seemingly drive, but the crane operator can.
He's got it.
And then the other one is John Travolta in Phenomenon. However, he needed to get a brain tumor before he was very smart. And then he was extremely, extremely smart.
That's kind of the MO though, whenever people depict mechanics or technicians, right? Is that, we're not that smart. So we had to get a brain tumor that increases our mental capacity, right? That's kind of a bummer.
He can move objects with his mind.
Yeah.
He could have killed Flat Rate. He could have killed Flat Rate.
He could have killed Flat Rate. He could have killed it. So it's funny that you say move things with your mind, because that brought me to the one that I had the epiphany on, which is a story that apparently everybody has missed the entire plot for, which is, the chronicles of a crew of interstellar mechanics, Star Wars, right?
I admit I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I did not think about that when I was trying to think of movies with mechanics on there. But you're right.
Chewie,
they have speeders, and
Chewie's he's the flight mechanic, right? Chewbacca. And then,
he couldn't fix the hyperdrive, but
well, it's okay.
The motivator.
it's all right. Han got it. It just needed a couple whacks. And then, Luke Skywalker, he was a mechanic. He dealt with the evaporators or the condensers, on Tatooine.
It's true.
And then
with
R2D2.
R2 unit.
Yeah, R2D2. He's a mechanic. He's designed to repair and maintain starships, right? So
he probably would have did well on flat rate too, because he's good under fire.
He is. He's really good under fire. He's just awesome at it.
Another guy that I think might have been okay with flat rate. I'm not ultra positive that he was a tech, but I think he was in the movie Zoom with Tim Allen. I think when he lost his super speed powers, except in his one finger, I think it was his index finger, he still had super speed. He used it to mix his drinks, shaken and stirred. But
mostly stirred.
He could have, if he'd have had his super speed, he would have killed flat rate too.
I still say I think R2D2 is your best bet. If we had a celebrity face-off, I think R2D2 is our best choice. I think he's got it.
Yeah, I mean, if he was complaining, how would you know? He's just over there beeping. Sounds the same.
I mean, that's what it would sound like in most of our shops if we had, a reality show anyway.
He's been beeping over there a lot. Does he just need to get recharged, or what's going on?
What's going on here?
Upgrade him from NiCads to lithium ions.
So I'm sure
lithium
somebody...
polymer.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody listening at this point is like, what are these two guys babbling on about? Just nonsense of movies.
Not nonsense.
It's not nonsense. Well, it made sense to us, right? So the question is what's depicted of us? What does that do to our image, right?
Unfortunately, I think it's more harmful than we give it credit for, right? It's easy just to say it's fake, right? Movies are fake. The media is fake. But, when it's repeated over and over enough, depicted over and over enough, that stereotype perpetuated over and over and over, it kind of starts becoming true.
It does, but, it leads to crazy things, right? The thing that irritates me the most is some of the commercials. There's this AT&T commercial. They had this campaign that they did several years back, and it was OK Service. And one of them was the OK Mechanic. And so a customer comes out and wants to talk to the mechanic, and he says, you guys good at brakes? And he's like, yeah, we're okay. Customer's like, what do you mean you're okay? And he's like, well, we do okay. And so they're talking about the brakes, and he's like, yeah, we fix them. You either stop or you hit something.
But either way, you stop.
Yeah, either way you stop. The customer is just wide-eyed, just like, what? So that kind of leads us into a bad light. So then, that kind of led us, Matt and I, both down a dark path because we tend to like to take things and run with it just in ridiculous directions. So then Matt kind of started talking about Rocky IV. And I was like,
we're jumping right into that.
I was like, whoa, bro. What, there's no mechanic in this movie. I'm totally confused where you're at.
Well, yeah, I'm going to finish up with a couple more mechanics in the movies.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to Rocky IV. So stand by.
We have to acknowledge the female contingent.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
And I think everybody would right away. I have to assume everybody's thinking My Cousin Vinny, Marissa Tomei.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The next one, maybe it's at least hinted at it, and I guess demonstrated a little bit is Megan Fox in Transformers.
I think it's a little more than hinted, but yeah.
Well, she's under the hood of the Camaro. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, but in Dark Side of the Moon, she's like physically working on the motorcycle.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like
she's in a motorcycle shop, right?
Yeah, she's running her dad's motorcycle shop because he just got out of jail.
Right on. And then another one that popped into my head is Diane Franklin, Better Off Dead. Right? They're fixing up the Stang.
No. Come on.
She's French. Yeah, I just watched a Grand Tour. They were talking about all the French cars. but they fix up the Mustang, and she led the way. She showed John Cusack what to do and how to do it. Good
old Monique.
That's very good. I was just going to drop her name on you. It's very French, but you did it for me.
I feel like you're trying to challenge me now.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. You'll probably win, though. I mean,
I doubt it.
In the hierarchy of knowledge, you're up here.
Yeah,
I'm down here.
Right there, the hierarchy.
I'm just saying.
You're zoomed way in on that hierarchy. That
no.
Looks huge.
No,
that's not.
That's a panned out view, man. There's no propaganda here.
Yeah, and you're probably looking at it in a mirror, so it's reversed, and that's all right.
Nope. And I'm standing right side up. It's not upside down. It's a good try.
Hey guys, Matt here talking to you about what the Napa Auto Care Center program can do for your business. You probably already know the Napa brand is the most recognized and trusted name in the automotive aftermarket industry. In fact, studies show nearly 95% of customers recognize Napa and associate it with quality parts, service, and technical expertise. So why not complete a Pro Image upgrade and take advantage of that? Pro Image is a co-branding program for the exterior and interior of your shop. On the outside, it includes the Napa colors and distinctive Napa signage. While the public may know you as a reliable, locally owned business, a Pro Image upgrade helps set your shop apart from the competition even further. It is also a visual signal to your customers and potential customers that you and Napa are partners. Most importantly, Pro Image really works. This co-branding opportunity has helped Napa Auto Care Centers across the country increase their car counts and sales. In fact, those that have completed the Pro Image project enjoy an average of 23% sales increase during their first year. Pro Image upgrades are also available for the interior of your shop. A Pro Image interior upgrade transforms your customer waiting area from merely utilitarian to warm and welcoming. The goal is to maintain your shop's independent identity while enhancing the customer's experience. You can get a free look at what a Pro Image exterior or interior upgrade can look like by visiting the Napa Auto Care member site and clicking on the Napa Pro Image link under the Napa Pro Image tab, or contact your local Napa Auto Parts store. Your servicing Napa store can tell you more about Pro Image plus the hundreds of other reasons to become part of the Napa Auto Care family, the largest network of independent auto repair shops in the country. The movie reference, so I brought up Rocky IV. And I was literally today, I was parking a car, backing it into the spot completed for a customer to pick up. And I was just kind of thinking to myself that I know a few techs out there that quite literally look forward to problem cars. And the reason I bring it up is I've kind of had a rash of just jacked up butt kicking cars.
Full on basket cases.
Yeah, like one was a 2007 Nitro, came from another shop. I think they bought it to flip, and it had transmission issues. Specifically, I think it had to do with the torque converter clutch solenoid. So they put a conductor plate in it. Now, mind you, I just talked about a Dodge Nitro and said conductor plate. So if you're domestic Asian heavy, you're going like, what the heck is a conductor plate? And if you're Eurocentric, you're going to be going, what is a conductor plate doing in a Dodge? Are you sure? I'm pretty sure there's no rebadged Mercedes. Actually, there is. Oops. But it's not the, I don't think it's the Nitro, but the transmission, the NAG1 is a Mercedes transmission, and they put a conductor plate in it that didn't fix the issue. They've got a used transmission control module, put it in, more problems. So they brought it to me to program the TCM, and then hopefully that would fix everything. So it programs just fine, but I get a code for variant coding incorrect, which is, again, that's not Dodge speak. That is not Chrysler speak, as far as I know. Definitely not GM or Ford. So I have a variant coding issue, and that's very Euro type words, or I guess Hyundai Kia uses it, and maybe Nissan. But that's just not normal Dodge terminology. Variant coding, like what? What? Well, I don't see any functions to code this thing. And I think, I thought that would be part of programming, but it's not. I don't see anything dedicated to that, to variant coding. Fine. Go to service info and whatever your information source is, Tech Authority or All Data, whatever, that you do what's called an EGS initialization. It's through the scan tool, and mine will not complete. It's unsuccessful every time. So mind you, I have a new conductor plate installed by another shop. I have a used transmission control module. If I compare it to the transmission control module they took out, what they put in was a Siemens unit, and what they took out was a Continental. So now it's like wrestling with, am I wasting my time trying to program this freaking TCM? So what do? Right? So get a new TCM from the dealer. Shows up. It's a Siemens unit. So it's like, okay, I'm not sure now how I feel about this.
No, I'm really confused.
Yeah. Programs just fine. Fails the EGS initialization. And wrestle around with it. Start messaging friends, specifically John Rogers and Tanner Brandt, and just spitballing ideas back and forth. Do a few capacitive discharges where we short the battery cables together and wait. Tried programming the TCM a few different times. What do we do? It's like, you verify power feeding ground over and over, verify COM, stuff like that. And then John Rogers is kind of like, just for fun, program that PCM again. Because it was at the latest firmware. I shouldn't say again, but program the PCM. PCM was already at the latest firmware version. So it's not like directing you through YTech to reprogram it. Essentially, you kind of force it, right? It tells you it's at the latest firmware. You keep going. It says you're going to program it with the same firmware. You're sure? Yep. Do it.
You're really speaking Euro now. Force reflashing. Yes.
Well, get done with the PCM flash programming, and I do the EGS initialization. Bang, it goes through with the new TCM. Now it sets us P0743 for the TCC solenoid circuit issue, which is the reason they put the conductor plate in, and the reason they replaced partly the reason, I should say, really the reason that they put the conductor plate in. So there, now I'm scoping the TCC solenoid control current, and unfortunately for me, which kind of sucks, is that it tests the TCC. Like, you could see the test on a scope. So I'm looking at supply voltage to the TCM, looking at the controls voltage to the TCC solenoid, and I'm looking at current. And it doesn't test it on key cycles. It tests it on startup, and it's immediate. You can see that it hits the TCC, hits the TCC, boom, 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 boom. And then you can see the voltage just drop to zero. It goes into limp. Within 5 seconds of startup, it's in limp. So I'm looking at it, and I do not like the way the control side looks, and so I jumper so that I can manually control the TCC solenoid. I'm now grounding it, and I hit it. You got to hit it pretty fast, or man, she pulls some major current. I think the resistance of the solenoid's around 2 ohms. So she's going to pull some, pretty good current for the size of wires.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
So, and right, you saturate it pretty fast too, just with hitting it as fast as you can. So I was using my that starter switch to bump starter switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm using it. So I'm hitting it pretty fast and hard so that it's making a good complete circuit, but rapid. And man, that solenoid looks perfect. I can see a nice pintle bump. Nothing seems wrong to me electrically. And so I grabbed the used TCM, and I try to do the EGS initialization. It fails. Program the PCM again, force flash it, goes through. do the EGS initialization, passes, truck is fixed. And I'm not trying to imply that this was just murder you hard, but it sucked.
That's a pretty strong fighting match there, though.
Right. But there's techs out there, really, really, really good techs, and I'm kind of jealous of them. They look forward to that. Like, they're looking at that car going, wow, this is going to be a challenge. Bring it on. And I'm not that guy. I'm looking at that Nitro and other cars like it, and I had a few of them this week. I'm looking across the ring at Drago. I'm going to go get my butt kicked. I am walking into the middle of the ring to get destroyed. I don't know if I can gut this one out like Rocky. I think I'm going down hard. And the worst part is everybody at the shop, everybody that, the shop that sent the car to me, they're going to tell everybody else. And if I go on social media, Facebook groups, or if I go on a Diagnostic Network, or if I call up some of my friends for help, they're going to be like, I thought this guy was smart. Like, what an idiot. So when I get these cars, it's kind of some dread. Like, I'm going to be outed. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the car that outs me. Everybody's going to find out I'm not that great. And then when I get any car fixed, it doesn't have to be a tough car. If I get it fixed or I figure it out accurately, I am relieved. I have a wave of relief. And then I go grab the keys for the next car, and then the anxiety starts building up a little bit. And I go through the same thing. And, I'm not trying to insinuate my anxiety is debilitating. It's just the pit of my stomach is kind of like, this could be the one. This could be the car that lets everybody in the world, or, my world, know that I suck.
I think there's a certain amount of that performance anxiety for everybody in the trade, or at least the guys that are really good at it, right? That are invested and really care about the work that they do. I mean, now you take the anxiety that you feel and then you multiply it times 12 or 14 or 15 a day. And then, I'm right there in the same boat with you. It's like, I like the problems, but man, at a certain point you're like, man, this is like, am I in the right spot here? Like, should I be doing this? And then, like, if I don't pull it off, how bad do I look? So let me be the first to say, nobody can fix every car. It's impossible, right? Normally you're going to have one or two cars a year where it always takes somebody to help you get out of that boxing match, right?
That used to be my life. One or two cars, but it's going up rapidly.
Yeah, that's because you're moving up the food chain. It's just a testament to how good you are, right? But I mean, Rocky had help, right? He had Apollo before Drago killed him.
Not for Drago, but
yeah. Oh, but he had Apollo's trainer.
Yeah. Because Apollo went out and got killed.
Yeah, that was the start of the movie. What you're saying is you're afraid you're going to turn into Apollo and not Rocky.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing right now. And I think
definitely.
I think a lot of us have that.
I don't have Apollo's moves either. I'm Rocky's moves, and I'm going to go out there and get
just good at taking
destroyed
hits.
Like Apollo.
Yeah, I'm definitely Rocky. I'm just too stupid to stay down. That's all it is.
Dance right into that 2000 PSI punch.
So you guys can't see it, but right now I'm kind of digitally punching Matt in the face.
He was roided up.
He was roided up.
Severely roided up.
I think that's and I'm glad we're talking about it, because I think it's an issue that, and it's not helped by some of the groups that we're in. There's some tech groups where, like, somebody legitimately has, I'll say, galled up enough to post in a group for help. Now, I'm not going to say the post is always perfect and has all the information that we need, but sometimes they kind of get beat up too, right? Yeah. And so is that leading people to not ask for help, or not reach out, or use outlets that they have, or maybe even shy away from getting involved in those hard cars? Is that what causes a bunch of punting?
I think there's that. I think there's just the assumption that the core group of brains of the group, whatever, the top tier leaders of that group, the ones that are going to probably respond and help, they are those ultra confident types. Like, they grab the keys to the car and the ticket or whatever, head out to the vehicle, and the assumption is that car is going to be fixed, diagnosed or fixed or whatever in a rapid amount of time, short amount of time. And it's no sweat.
I don't know if it's overconfidence, but some of us keep boxing gloves in our toolbox.
But I'm just saying, like, I think that's the perception. Like, if I'm thinking about, this car now, I've made a couple of bad calls on, or wrong calls. We bolted some parts on it. It still isn't fixed, or I have no idea what I am doing. I don't even know where to start. And I'm breaking down. And man, I don't like that I keep stopping and tangent, or stop caveat, but I think I have to do it. You really have two kind of distinct types, right? Where you have the one type that there's no hesitation in asking for help, right? That really, like, step one, verify complaint. Step two, plug a scan tool in. Step three, ask for help.
All right, so I'm going to step back and tell you, from tech support side, there's at least the two, maybe a third category that I think you're alluding to, which is reach out early. And then there's don't reach out until it's so bad and so upside down that we're probably going to have to find Merlin in a movie and drag him into this fight. I think that's probably pretty accurate.
I think those are the ones that catch hell for one reason. And you got the other ones. I think the perception is that when you're hesitant to ask for help, it's because there's some shame involved. And that the fear is you're going to get ridiculed because this group that may help you, they just don't have those types of issues. And I think it's that perception thing. You got that kind of that table type personality. If you play poker, you kind of have this table personality. You play tight, you play loose, whatever. Yeah, you're a numbers guy, you're a math guy, you're a gut guy, whatever, or player. And the assumption is these types do not really struggle with cars, that they kind of are always know what to do. And it's nothing. It's like another day, whatever, bring it. Get my 6 cars or 8 cars or 10 cars or 15 cars a day done. No problem. And so there's that hesitancy because you don't know. You don't know from their perspective that, periodically they also have to stop and think or ask for help. And then they ask for help. Nobody knows they asked for help. So I think that's another reason people are hesitant. I think, like, there's a unspoken protocol for asking for help, that you have done your due diligence. I'm not saying you've made bad calls, but you've done some of your research, at least covered.
Yeah, you've attempted.
You've attempted to, some diagnostic process, whether it's driven by a test plan or a flow chart or whatnot. You've tried to educate yourself on the system by whatever means, training classes, textbooks, service information, blah, blah, blah. You've sought out service bulletins, stuff like that you can go in with some information. If we pick on the TCC solenoid scenario with that nitro, that you have some waveforms, maybe you don't know what they mean, but you've collected them, and then you post that up. Hopefully, if you get any kind of ribbing, it's just part of that social thing. And I'm not saying it's good, bad, or otherwise. But if it's happening, I'm hoping it's more good-natured ripping.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Right. And you're going to get the help you need. And, you know, I think it's the ones where it's like, you know, I brought the car in. I don't know what to do. I, you know, got this code. We put a TCC solenoid in it. We put a TCM in it. Thinking about putting a wire harness in it. What do you guys think? Well, you know, what did you test? Well, I drove it with a scan tool and I couldn't see anything wrong. What were you looking at when you drove it with a scan tool? You know what I mean? And those are the ones that
they turn ugly quick.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
See, then when they do turn ugly, you get the guy that tested everything. He did everything he was supposed to, and he's got a fault code, and the car is not broken, but it keeps setting this code. It keeps setting a misfire code. It keeps setting a this.
Yep.
And then come to find out that there's this hidden piece of information that was never even a service bulletin, or maybe it was a service bulletin that was really obscure and got deleted that says, yeah, once that problem is fixed, you have to delete the fault codes 4 times in a row, back to back, before it actually clears that fault code. It prevents that guy. So he just keeps staying in the ring fighting Drago.
Yeah. Or there's a crank relearn procedure, scan tool driven or not. You got to do X amount of D cells to force it to do a crank profile relearn of some sort that, all of a sudden, it's flagging misfires, but you don't feel it misfiring. It's not actually misfiring. There's a relearn procedure. However, did service information ever really tell you that? Where would you learn to do something like that? And sometimes it's there, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's there and, like you said, hidden a little bit.
It's very, very subtle, or it's hinted at, which, my preferred car line, there's a lot of information that it's there, but it's not called out immediately. It's just very subtle. It's like, so this does this and this does this. And if you read between the lines, you're like, well, it doesn't do that. So who's doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Or, in some cases, you don't have the information you need. So it's like, not technical service bulletins so much. Although, I mean, that's possible too. I guess I've run into it more lately than ever before, where there's differences between service information providers of service bulletins. So Identifix will not have a service bulletin. All Data has it. And I'm not trying to imply All Data is better.
We're not picking on anybody. You just use an example.
You got to keep it in the back of your head that you might have to go to OE information to get the latest bulletins or all of the bulletins.
Or what's worse is you're in a service information, regardless of who it is, motor, on demand, All Data, whatever it is. They have the bulletin, but the printing of the bulletin they have is 5 years old. That bulletin's been updated 17 times since.
Yeah.
And it was never updated in the service information. So what you have is the initial reaction that engineering gave you, not the final reaction, which sends you down a rabbit hole. You put the boxing gloves back on and you go back in for round 2, except you come out bloody and, now your eye's purple and it looks like, there's a golf ball hanging out of your temple. It's just, so what do you do?
And then there's certain bulletins that you may not have access to, even if you do subscribe to OE.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on, special service messages, preliminary, what are they? Preliminary inspection?
Engineering cases, or things that happen behind the scenes between technician and field service or engineering or whatever. That
star case bulletins,
a round table or a pre-PIP or Puma case for BMW.
Yeah. So when people know about that versus the ones that don't, and the ones that don't are struggling, what other option do you have other than to reach out and ask? I mean, and then hopefully when you get that, like, hey, there's a bulletin for that. Okay, how would I get that? And then hopefully that's where a lot of the improvement occurs is, giving them the info, but then I would want to know how to access that info so I don't have to ask this again. I'm going to ask something else, I'm sure. But what can I do to not have to ask this again and get this answer again? Not maybe this specific repair, but this bulletin. You have to go to this area, this resource, whatever it is, to get this type of information. Like another example would be like what Volkswagen, late model Volkswagen. Your scan tool is probably not going to be a whole heck of a lot of help. Aftermarket.
No.
Volvo. I mean, jeepers. It's not just them. I mean, I'm sure Mercedes, of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a thing that it started with European cars. It's going to continue to migrate to other car manufacturers where
I agree wholeheartedly.
You have an aftermarket scan tool. It can read fault codes. It can run activations. It can read live data. But all of that operational or functional description or description of operation or enabling criteria, whatever you want to label it as, is all kind of integrated into the tool. We commonly say hidden in the tool. It's not really hidden. It's integrated into, whether it be a test plan or, a non-electrical diagnosis flow chart or whatever. The things are put into the tool. It's the way of the future. It's been going that way. My selected car brand's been like that for decades.
Yeah, I had a Volvo in. It was setting the code that was set was reading with multiple aftermarket scan tools. Was a parking aid sensor, ultrasonic. Okay, well, there's like 8 to choose from. Which one? It didn't even tell me if it was in the rear or the front.
Roll the diagnostic dice.
Yeah, right. Put in all 8. I don't know. And I guess I could have. I'd have fixed it.
Yeah, you would have.
But I go through the heartbreak, not the heartbreak, but the pain of getting Vita going.
Round 3.
Yep. I get Vita going. And then now not only do I get a different and specific DTC, which it was the first 5 digits are the same. It was the follow-ups that designated which sensor was what.
An OE suffix to that code.
Yeah, there. I like that word, suffix, because that's what it is.
That's the technical term, I'm told.
The suffix. I got the suffix, and of course with Vita, then the service info is right there. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom. Now I know exactly which sensor it was, and it was a failed sensor. It would not have been something as that I could have determined with just a flashlight to see that it was broke or not connected or something like that. But yeah. Not to keep rolling with this, but I had this other 2020 Blazer from a collision shop. Blew some bags, quite a few bags in a collision. And they replaced them all and got a new airbag control module. They sent it to get programmed. And I program a lot of stuff for them. It's usually wham, bam, done. And this one finished programming, but it wouldn't configure the loops, the deployment loops. Mm-hmm. So after you're done programming, it
has to do a search to find the airbag circuits and teach them in.
If it's supposed to have 20 loops, then it's looking for 20 loops. And I get a configuration error. And, after a couple of key cycles starting it up, it set another code for the driver's seatbelt retractor. So I call up the collision shop. It's like, hey, did you guys replace that? Yep. Weird. Okay. Maybe a wiring problem. Let me check it out. It's unplugged. Plug it in, thinking you're going to be done. Now just sets the configuration error. Those that care, it's a B1019. And you can't clear it. Tried programming the airbag module again. I am sifting through data. I started out with aftermarket tools. Finally, I'm like, well, maybe, just maybe, it's a 2020. Get it's a GM, so GDS2 connected. And I'm poring over this information. Or not information, over the PIDs. Like, is there any discrepancies? I can't find anything. And I drove it in, or I drove it out to bring something in front of it and then drove it back in, and I got a yaw sensor code. And it was yaw sensor 2. And that just kind of seemed odd to me. So I pull the part number through the scan tool off the airbag module and I call up the dealer. The dealer looks up the part. The part number I have ends in 5.8. The controller that it's supposed to have ends in 5.9. In the collision shop, all they do is they call up VIN number or the last 8 and they send them an airbag control module. So I'm not sure what happened or how, or, but man, it's like, it looks the same,
It plugged in, it fit.
Yeah. In defense of the collision shop plugging it in, and would they pay attention to one digit off?
Yeah. But see, would it even make a difference to pay attention to it? Because how often do things get superseded?
Yeah. All the time.
I run into this daily. I mean, daily, on the phone, I get wrong parts all the time with remote shops that we're working with. It's not their fault. I mean, how are they supposed to be a mind reader? But if we go back and consult the parts catalog, I mean, use the force. I mean, that's frustrating. That's, we're back in the ring now, getting beat up again. To me, these are conversations that we jokingly have with each other that I don't think anybody really takes to heart, No,
I don't think so. I mean, I don't want to imply I was sitting there pulling my hair out, but there's a point where I'm sitting there like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what to do now. I would have pursued the part number stuff because that's all I had to do that I could think of to do. The yaw sensor thing made it because the yaw sensors are in the airbag control module. That would have, and that didn't set in the airbag control module, by the way. It's set in the ABS.
Of course.
But that was the only other clue. Like, hey, they got the wrong module. Like, and how do you even get the wrong module? Was it boxed wrong? They got billed for the wrong module.
Oh, we'll blame that on the parts guy. That's what we love to do.
And even then, like, I don't know what the parts guy would have done because I don't think they're not like entering in RPO codes for GMs anymore. I think the VIN, it kind of decodes all of that.
Maybe he had to, I don't know. Maybe he had to order it from another location and he typoed the number on the transfer order. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't know.
We never know, right? We never know. We never get the answer of how did we get this part number that's wrong.
Drove it back over to the collision shop just the whole time, just relief. Like, I live to fight another day.
Right? It's a real battle, man. And I think you're right. I think that there's mainly the two categories. There's the Rocky and there's the Drago. Right? Am I going to stay in the fight?
I'm not Drago.
Well, but see, if you're Rocky, you stay in the fight, right?
Yeah, but serious head trauma.
Well, I mean, it's better than being...
Even Sylvester Stallone almost died filming the stupid movie.
Well, I mean, it's either that or overconfidence and then you just lose all the time.
I don't know what he was thinking. Like, hey, Dolph, I think we should really hit each other. Okay.
I think you should really take a center block and just beat me about the forehead really with it. Yeah.
Goes to the ER. Like, it should be dead.
Yo, Adrian. All right, Rock. We're off scene now. We're off scene now, Rock. You can stop saying that. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of torn because I see it from both sides where you have the guys that they have that anxiety and they kind of submit to that will. Sure, that probably in the long run helps them out because they don't get embattled. Really, if we talk about it, the longer we stay in that battle and not know or getting beat, how much money are we making? Not a lot, right? Yeah. We're losing. But then at the same time, then our pride steps up, right? He creeps up. Pride. He joins the party. He's like, you got to fix this car or everybody's going to figure out you're a fraud.
That's what drives me.
Right. And then you have other guys that they just, like you said, they just enjoy the challenge. I'm just here for the challenge. I don't want a brake job.
They don't want the regular issues. They only want the really jacked up stuff.
Some of us seek that out, and it's a mental disease. It's a disorder. There's no cure for it. Just more broken cars.
I mean, I'm fairly jealous of that. Kudos to them for welcoming the challenge and accepting it and taking it on. And the ones I can think of offhand, I think are fairly successful in doing so. Don't get me wrong. That's not really how they just make their money solely on fixing these problem childs like Dr. House, but they, you know what? If we were like Dr. House, we'd get to chuck parts at cars left and right. Nobody'd think about it, right? That's like his philosophy.
I've never heard on an episode of House, the patient has decided that they're pulling the plug. We're not spending any more money on testing. Never once has that ever been said.
No, there was the one where there's that really, 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 really heavy set dude. And he's like, stop all treatment. I'm going home. And Cameron, the one doctor, and his team drugged him so that he fell through a big tempered glass window. And I don't think he was injured from that.
I think that's a felony.
He was like 600 some pounds. Well, they didn't tell anybody. So, but yeah, right. And I think it ends up the diagnosis was lung cancer. And then,
how awesome would that be to just be like, you know what, we need to do this. And then you just get to do it. That would be amazing.
Right. Well, that's what I'm thinking though, is House, his philosophy is treatment tells us more than testing. They do a lot of testing, but he'd rather just start treating and watch how you react
and see what the reaction is.
Yes. Yeah. That's more informative.
Is that like substitute known good part? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's exactly. So I think maybe we need to do an episode on what we can learn from House MD.
Oh man, God, you're going to get us yelled at.
We can justify parts cannons.
Oh man, the parts houses are going to
kill you. There it is.
Parts suppliers.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
Right. House MD is a genius. He could, instead of being a doctor, he could have been a physicist studying dark matter. And no, he chooses to save lives and solving those puzzles. And he does it with treatment, which is essentially a parts cannon. If we want to be like House, we have to all start using parts cannons. It should be accepted.
But how many cars a week does House fix?
Oh, it's like one a
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
I could live with that.
I think I'll stick with Diagnostic. That seems to, I can get a few more cars in a week that way.
Well, it's pretty rare that he fixes anything. He just diagnoses. Yeah. Right? He's got that whiteboard he draws on, and
I am jealous of the whiteboard. I could use a whiteboard. That'd be good.
We can walk around with a cane and be really rude to everybody.
Yeah, but then
I'm digging this.
Yeah, but then you're going to have to go back. We're going to have to continue the series on substance abuse because that's just
yeah, I can popping Vicodins all day.
Yeah, that's probably not good. So, I mean, let me go back for a second. We're talking about, okay, so we enter, player 2 has entered the game. I'm going to come into some environment, whether it's a coworker, whether it's Diag, whether it's any of the other forums, whether it's the Facebook groups. I say Facebook a lot because that's like the most common one anybody has now, right? Because and I blame IATN, and I say blame very lovingly, but that's where that came from, was IATN back in the day. That's what networked us. And then it just became easier through social media for us to reach out to people that we knew or people that we'd never met, but we developed some sort of pseudo relationship with. But now, when do you ask for help? When do you tap in that tag team partner for that wrestling match? Because I know you're a huge wrestling fan. So when do I reach out and I struggle to get to the rope and I say, Matt, tap in. Like when do I tap you in? Right? Is it, I scan for codes and I check for bulletins and I don't know which way's up. Why am I dressed like this? Whose name is on my shirt? That's not my name. Who is this? Where am I at? Or is it, do I wait till I'm really far down the rabbit hole, 12 hours in, 10 hours in?
I mean, that seems to be how you get the best pop from the crowd, is you wait until you're just barely crawling to your corner and then somehow find enough energy to leap.
Yeah.
So that you're parallel to the mat. And then you just get in touch to tag in your partner, and then they come in, with that fire, and they're just mowing everybody down with clotheslines, because when you get tagged in, clotheslines become the most effective technique.
Just telegraphing that clothesline from, you're reaching down from about Georgia and you're just coming at them.
Yep. Maybe a super kick here and there, but body slams if you're really old school, but I don't know if they even body slam anymore. It's pretty rudimentary.
Maybe we can get it more like that motivational speech from your corner coach and less like that tag in where we just silver bullet start clotheslining the hell out of everybody. Right? Where's the happy medium there? Where's that happy medium?
Yeah, I think seriously, it's you're out there doing what you need to do or doing what you can do to the best of your ability and realizing you're not getting anywhere. So you're standing in the ring and looking across the, pick whatever wrestler you want, I guess. Brock Lesnar. No.
Oh no, you did not just take Brock Lesnar out of my mouth.
Yeah, so Brock Lesnar, and you're throwing everything you got at him, and
it's just not working.
Like throwing every part at him. I mean, you're throwing every technique you got.
You ripped a pole off the corner of the ring, and it's not working.
You did what you could, and it's not doing much. It's time to try to get some help because at least your partner can see you tried. It wouldn't be like ding, 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 ding. He hits you once. And then you run over to Tay again, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, what's that DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince song? I think I can beat Mike Tyson. Went in and got hit once.
Oh, man. YouTube's going to be on fire tonight with everybody looking this up.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's exactly right. So would we say that like going to training would be like having Mick?
Yeah.
So we got Mick in our corner. We're training.
Especially if it's Jim Morton. He kind of looks like him.
Ooh, Jim, for the record, that was not me firing that shot this time. It's normally
Mickey has more hair, but...
well, I think Jim's got better jokes. Mickey's saltier, though, so it gets the point across. I don't know. Celebrity death match. Mickey versus Jim Morton. Who wins that battle?
I'm guessing if Jim's at Vision, you're probably going to see me laying in the hall somewhere clotheslined.
For the audience, I promise I will live stream that because I'll be there. I'll put it in the Facebook groups too. I don't know. I love the movie.
I mean, references. It's like anything. It's acquiring the proper equipment. It's acquiring the proper service information.
So we need Mickey. We need boxing gloves, and we need a whiteboard.
Yeah, and training. The whiteboard's key.
You got to have the boxing gloves and the whiteboard.
And you need to, it's the training and everything. That's just stacking the odds that you have more offense to throw first.
Training, networking. Networking is good, but it's a double-edged sword like we're talking about. Like,
hopefully you build a network over time, especially when you go to training.
Not everybody has the network where they can call someone as smart as Matt Fanslow and go, hey, man.
And he gives you somebody else's phone number. That's what I am. I'm the operator.
Sometimes knowing a guy is the answer, right?
Yeah, call Matt up. Hey, can you help me on this? No, but I know.
But I got a guy for that.
Here we go. Let me plug in.
Yeah, no, that's not.
I will hook you up. It's like, hey, have you ever fixed a car in your life? Me? By accident? Yeah.
Rolodex.
Even a broken clock's right twice a day.
Maybe you should just sell your Rolodex.
I wonder what that's worth.
Oof. Man, the hate mail you're about to get from everybody in that Rolodex is going to be amazing. Amazing.
I will tell you, Justin Morgan's number is in my Rolodex, so immediately it's worth
man,
$2.
Guess I'm flying to Minnesota this week. I'm going to have to kick the crap out of Drago. God. I think, maybe the question is what situation you play Rocky versus Drago. Because there's times where we should tap out. There's times where we should back out. That white towel should be
I'm a horrible person to ask that question.
I am the wrong person to ask because I have stayed at the shop to diagnose cars even though customers don't want to, just because I have to know what the answer is. I've stayed on the support line until 11 o'clock East Coast programming or diagnosing or muddling something around, trying to just stumble into an answer that makes sense or just trip over something on my whiteboard. I don't know. Where's that break point?
I don't know, because this is Cicera 2005, 2006. I posed a question, I believe, on IATN about when do you throw in the towel? When do you give up? When is that problem child car it's not worth it?
When Joe Rogan's got you in a Kimura and is about to rip your shoulder out, that's it.
Well, and it's it's the ego thing, right? It's that pride, and not just the technician too. It's the service manager maybe, but the owner, management involved as well, where they also want it figured out. Like we want to help the customer. And also, I mean, we want to be that shop too. We want to be the ones that figure it out.
Yeah.
We want to be that shop that everybody sends their tough cars to because we get them figured out. And I don't blame you. I sympathize greatly. It may not be logical. It may not be business savvy. And so that question led to some answers.
My inner Seth is going, no, not profitable.
Specifically from Randy Burnclaw, he responds. His answer is literally, it's just a car, right? And why get so wrapped up into it? It's not like it's a person that is, losing their life in front of you, and you're a doctor and you're figuring them out saves their life or quality of life, whatever. And I understand that logic. But on the flip side, I'll take that. It's just a car and flip it a little bit and be like, yeah, it's just a car. Why is it kicking my butt? And this is back in 2005, 6, 7. They're not cars like 2010s on up, 2012s.
We're talking about solid customer base of like 2000s and 99s and 98s.
Yeah, and the complexities have skyrocketed. And okay,
I don't even know that skyrocket is the right adjective or adverb there. I mean, it's almost indescribable at this point.
And I don't think we're even talking about like it runs bad. I think like some of the worst ones are, intermittent parasitic drains or
body systems. Always the body system. That's always the worst, hands down.
Some weird can issue that's intermittent. Like
I got a battery drain. Is the network staying alive? And I go to the one accessible splice pack in the trunk, and this is a true story, by the way. There's a ricochet bullet hole in the trunk, and the bullet tagged the harness, and it's touching the metal shard flipped over from the metal, the bullet going through. There's no amount of training for that. There's no training. There's no class. There's nothing you can do to diagnose that. I tripped across that.
We could take a page or a lesson from most mobile techs. They don't mess around with intermittents.
No.
If they show up and it's not doing it, they charge you for the service call and they leave.
Peace out.
Call me when it's broken.
Yep.
All the time. And I'm not saying to take such a hard line. In their world, they have to, right? Because it isn't just pull another car in. It's hop in their car and drive to the next job, which who knows how far away that is. Different business model. But there's some logic to that where, I mean, how much time do you invest in something that the probabilities of success are low?
And the longer you spend, the lower the probability is.
Yeah, and it's taking you away from profitable work.
Yeah. And
not just from a technician's standpoint, not just, however you're compensated aside. Don't care if it's salary, don't care if it's hourly, don't care if it's flat rate or commission, blah, blah, blah.
Doesn't matter what what your pay plan is. The shop's still losing money at that point.
Right. Even from the perspective of the boss, the owner, the manager, at some point, it's got to be like, we got to get this profitable stuff in here because A, we have bills to pay. B, you guys want newer, better equipment. We have to have a budget to be able to keep improving. And so that has the weigh in on us a little bit that, coming in on, I mean, I don't know how many, I'm trying to think of like the top tier shop owners, whatever that means too. I'm trying to speak more hypothetically than anything, would really want a tech to come in on a weekend on their own time to stay late after hours to figure this car out. Would there be coaching involved? It's like, hey, I am so happy that you care this much and you have this desire, but man, go home, go be with your family.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah. It's your weekend. Go do what you do. Go.
It's an addiction. It becomes an addiction.
Yeah. I mean, and just that gotta know.
Gotta know.
And not just because I gotta figure out that car.
What
I want to figure out where my process is broken, or what is it I don't know? Like, that's one thing. It's like, I think there's a big difference in these two phrases. In my world, I think they're huge differences. And this is me speaking. I hate being wrong. I hate it. Okay. But some people might think that's very similar to saying, I always want to be right, or I have to be right. Probably more so that second one. I have to be right. No, To me, that's way different. That is way, way, way different. I don't have to be right.
I just don't want to be wrong.
I hate being wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm wrong a lot, but I hate it.
Oh,
and so I want to know, so I'm not wrong. And I want to get to be whatever that is, more knowledgeable, whether it's more knowledgeable about that car, fix my process a little bit better, have this nugget of, experience / wisdom for either another car that I'm involved with, or, hey, my buddy Justin calls me up and he's like, dude, I'm kind of getting my butt kicked. I got this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
you admit that you're at the top of the hierarchy.
No,
yes.
I'm the the higher ups that you called first were busy.
No. There's no backpedaling here.
That's not. I'm not backpedaling. This is how it works. You start out with your number one, who
no,
and then you work your way down, and you start getting down into the 20s, and then my name pops up.
Yeah, I'm carrying.
And you call, and I answer.
Yeah, I'm back here carrying your luggage.
I answer because I'm needy, and then you're like, I'm getting murdered on this car, and I'm like, no way, this is really happening. And then I turn on my recorder, and then I say, I've run into something very similar, and it was easy. I had it figured out in 5 minutes. Yeah, right. It took me 5 months, but you don't know that.
Unrealistic.
That's why people don't ask for help.
Never happens. This is exactly what happens. Oh, come on. You didn't know that? That happens all the time.
How could you not know that?
God.
I would start out that way, and then I would tell you the truth that I got slayed.
Such an idiot. God.
How many hours you got in on it, Justin? Oh, about 3. Call me back in about 30 more, and then I'll talk.
Put in the work.
Then we can sympathize with each other.
Then I'll tell you. Yes.
Then I'll tell you. When you make the emotional investment I did, I will tell you what's
when you come to the dark side, you will realize your powers.
Yeah. No, and then my luck is I'll tell you what it was, and he'll do it, and it won't fix it anyway.
That's exactly what's going to happen. And then I'm like, hey, man, you were wrong.
You were wrong.
You were wrong.
I hate being wrong.
Ah, God. Gee, golly willikers.
How much are airline tickets to South Carolina?
Well.
Why can't you live in North Carolina? It'd be closer.
It would be. I get that all the time. How come you can't just live in Minnesota? Not from you.
Yeah.
From other people I know in Minnesota. You just need to move to Minnesota. Nope. The air hurts my face. Not moving there. Nope. Not happening.
I think you'd take to ice hockey very well.
Do you remember how tall I am? People my size don't play ice hockey.
You'd be the goalie.
For a peewee team.
The nets aren't that high. Goals are not that high.
Okay, well, this is Justin, not Tanner. Just
how tall is Hawken?
Hawkins? I don't know. How tall is Hawken?
I don't know.
I think he's like 5'10", 5'11". I don't know. I imagine him to be 5'11".
On skates, he's got to be close to 6'4".
At least. Who knows? I don't know. I'm so torn. Like it's an inner struggle. I have the inner struggle. At what point do I call it quits? At what point do I go home? Is it when my wife says, hey, you've been at this for 15 hours. It's time to call it quits. Just call it a day. Or is it like when the bell strikes and everybody in the shop leaves? Like, do I go home then? Do I call it quits then? Or do I just go, I've got this code. I have no clue what it means. Tag, Matt, you're it.
Right now I have outs to get because I have to leave because I can't have little kids home alone. So, at a certain time I have to leave, but I may physically leave the car.
But you have not mentally.
But mentally, no, nope. Never.
Nope. Driving home, just steaming about it.
Yep.
You ever get in that car and you get in your car to go home? You don't even turn the radio on. You just drive home mad as hell. Just this inanimate object, this piece of iron, aluminum, and plastic is just pummeling me into the ground. I look like Rocky Balboa, and I have no idea how I'm going to win this fight.
Yeah, no radio, no music, no podcasts.
Nothing. Don't even roll the window down because you just want silence.
And it's just going over and over and over in my head. Don't call nobody. I'm not calling anybody to visit or to vent. I
don't even want to see another human being right now. Just own little bubble. It happens. I think it happens a lot. I don't think it just happens to us either. I don't think it's that we're just special. I think it happens a lot.
I'm special, all right, but not the good type.
Oh, when I said special, I meant more like, we should have tax credits for us, but not. Yeah, I didn't mean like unique, special.
I'd be game for that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a struggle, man. I think it is. I'd be curious to see what the comments are on this podcast. Guys, send me a message when you're listening to this podcast. I'm curious now. I want to know how many people have that inner turmoil. How many of us are taking that beating like Rocky and stay in the fight? Tell me. I mean, I know some guys because I associate. We all kind of migrate together, right? So we can all, we can be in the loser circle at the championship for, Hell in a Cell. But I'm curious.
And I'll have a link up to this.
Hey,
I'll link it to YouTube because I have a YouTube channel.
Can you do one of those Google surveys? Could you link a Google survey for that? I'm stealing a page from Jim Kokonis.
Google, and then we could do the Facebook survey on the Diagnosing the Aftermarket.
Oh yeah, you could do a Facebook survey too. I forgot. You're super popular now. You have all the outlets. God, I still want to be you when I grow up.
You just make them. You don't have to be popular to make them.
I want to be you when I grow up.
I made the page. Yeah, you don't have to be popular to build a page.
And I swear to God, if you don't get Bob on here with me, I'm gonna quit.
Mr. Hype.
I want Mr. Robert Hype.
Yeah, I don't even get to call him by his first name anymore. It's Mr. Hype.
Well, I'm hoping if I poke him enough, if I poke the bear enough, he'll come in. So come on, Bob. I'm tagging you in at some point. Let's go. Don't even care what the subject is. You're that guy.
Who do I want to grow up to be like? Who just has the world in the palm of their hands?
I don't know, but judging by previous interactions I've had, I'm thinking maybe it's Scott Manna.
He's way up there. If he's not number one, he's number 1.5.
I mean, you did trip over yourself to carry his luggage. That was a feat to see.
The best one was the wrestling match about who was going to sit in the back. We weren't wrestling over who's going to sit in the front.
These are legendary.
We weren't wrestling over who was going to sit in front.
It was reverse shotgun. No, I'm sitting in the back.
And then I let him win. So I ended up sitting in front, and then I ran my seat all the way forward.
You know what I'm getting out of this?
My knees were dang near into the windshield.
You know what I'm thinking. What I'm getting out of this whole conversation is you just enjoy turmoil and struggle.
Yeah, and I need to buy a red carpet so that when I see him, I can start rolling it out and just carry it with me all the time, almost like.
I think Scott's going to block your phone number after this. Nope, done with this guy. He's going to get served with a restraining order next week.
Just carry this red carpet on my back, like 50 feet of it all the time, just ready.
I'm really curious. You've got me peaked now. I want to know. I want to know what I don't know, and what I don't know is what guys do. Do you stay in the fight? Do you go home at 5? Do you come back the next morning super early, jump back in that pit of alligators?
Well, hopefully we'll link this to that Facebook page. So please visit the Facebook page. We'll link it to I think YouTube's or whatever your favorite listening app.
You're not going to use this video, right? Because I have no pants on.
You can't tell anyways.
Are you going to use this video?
No, we don't use video.
Okay, good.
And then we'll put up like a survey, I think. Take the survey and leave some comments on how you go about handling this, because I agree. I'm kind of interested too.
Maybe we take the surveys and we go a round 2 on this.
Well, we definitely need to do round 2.
I think there needs to be a round 2. Let's do some research.
I survived the first round.
Yeah.
With the real Drago.
Rock.
Yep, I'm coming out for round 2. Apollo made it. He made it over past the first round, right? He went back out and then died.
Wasn't it the third round?
Yes, third round seems right.
Third seems right.
Yeah. So we have to at least have 3 rounds, but this will be, I think this will be a good place to end.
Are you sure?
I think it would be, it's a little open-ended, but still, we get some feedback on this, and hopefully we get a fair bit of feedback and lead into the round 2.
I think best feedback gets a guest spot. What you think? I mean, it's your show. I have no pull here.
I'm totally game for that.
I think we picked the most
intriguing and thought-provoking, and
let's get a really original point of view.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Do it.
I like it. I'm excited. Let's do this.
You're in charge. I just work here.
I need to be charged. I'm not in charge.
No. You're in charge. I've got to come up with your fight name now.
Glass Joe.
The Thunder from Down Under. Something. I got to come up with something.
I think that's a Vegas show.
Maybe. I don't know.
Glass Joe. That was the first character in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out that for some reason they removed Mike Tyson from and just called it Punch-Out. Terrible. But it was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. The first guy was Glass Joe.
It was.
And if you couldn't beat him in the first round, you sucked.
Yeah, but how many of these cars do we beat in the first round? Not very many.
Well, all of them. Me.
Negative Ghost Rider. No.
A few here and there.
No. I'm like the Clubber Lang sometimes.
Justin Morgan, LMV Bavarian, tech support extraordinaire, trainer, in person and online. Thank you so much for being on.
No, man, thanks for having me. I wanted to do this before, and it's just, again, I'm sorry I stood you up yesterday. It's kind of crappy of me.
If I could have cried, I would have, but
I know, but you don't have any emotions. People are going to listen to this and be like, what is wrong with these two guys? No, just normal techs.
Yeah, and paint chips as a kid, played under power lines.
I like to watch the microwave in operation.
Up close.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see better when you get that screen out of the way.
I know, it's such a pain in the butt, man. I removed mine.
You rip that screen out, and then you can see in there perfectly.
Yes.
You get a little hot-headed, but...
Cheese is bubbling. Hot Pocket's done. Ding!
Yeah, your Hot Pockets are done and your nose is bleeding, but it's all right. It's all good. Your eyes are about to explode.
I have a headache now. Let me know when we're going to do round 2 and who our tag teammate is.
That would be great.
That'll work. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. And also remember, you guys can email me at Matt Fonslow podcast at gmail.com. And check us out on YouTube and check us out on Facebook. So that was Justin Morgan, the Justin Morgan.
And that's the Matt Fanslow.
The Justin Morgan from LMV Bavarian.
This is turning into
not only one of my very, very best friends, but my hero. He's actually number 1.
No,
Scott Manna is a.
Oh no, we gotta get
not all too distant 1.5.
I'm going to dime you out to Ken Zanders. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. We'll see you. We'll talk to you all again. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
You've been listening to Matt Fonslow, diagnosing the aftermarket A to Z on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Matt on your favorite listening app. He's very interested in what you have to say. Let him know what you'd like him to cover and come on the show. Matt is all for advancing the aftermarket. Find Matt Fonslow on social media and connect or on aftermarketradionetwork.com.